Hello, welcome to the channel, Beck Altar. I normally don't do reaction videos of music videos. I have one for The Who. It's up on my Rumble, link below if you're watching this on YouTube. Uh, I came across this guy through another video. I can't even remember now, but I got absolutely enthralled in his videos last night, and watched a couple of other black guys do reaction videos to his video, and was really nice to see they really got this because he's gotten a lot of hate for some of the songs that Tom has put out. His name's Tom MacDonald. He's born in Canada, lives in the United States. Most of his perspectives from his videos are from an American perspective, not a Canadian perspective. He was a wrestler at one time, and he now looks like he tried to audition for MS-13, didn't quite make the cut. Uh, but he definitely looks like a guy you wouldn't want to see in an alley. He's tattooed up the wazoo. But everything I've seen about this guy, he's chill. This guy, he seems like he's actually be a really nice guy. I think he'd be the kind of guy you could probably sit down across the table with and have a great conversation. He's super intelligent lyrically. His rhymes are really good. Beats are pretty good. I'm more of a heavy metal guy. If you watch my streams when I'm, gaming and stuff like that, definitely more into the metal, Viking metal and stuff like that. Not really into rap overall, just because I think most rap is crap. That being said, I like Will Smith, Fresh Prince, DJ Jazzy Jeff, the Fresh Prince. Love that stuff growing up, Informer, Snow. So there are some rappers, early Eminem, right? There's early Eminem stuff. It's more recent stuff is kind of trash. So rap is something that I'm aware of. I play a lot of it as a DJ. The new stuff I don't like. The mumble rap stuff I don't like. And this video, he actually makes some pretty good cutting remarks. So this is a second go at a reaction video of this. I have a 40-minute one with tons of tangents. I'm going to try and make this one a lot more concise. This is going to be like the too long, didn't read version. So there might be two of these that I put up for viewing. I might put one on Rumble, one on YouTube. We'll see which one does better. So Tom MacDonald, Fake Woke, great song. Definitely give this guy a look if you're definitely if you're not into rap. Listen to the message. This guy he just about speaks in code. He does things so well. Let's get into the video. I'm going to try and keep this one short.
I think it's crazy I'm the one who they labeled as controversial, and Cardi B is the role model for 12-year-old girls.
Yes, 100% correct. In my previous video, I mentioned a little story about doing middle school dances and how it's kind of disturbing watching these 12, 13-year-old girls trying to twerk. And they come up and they'll actually request WAP by Cardi B, Wet Ass Pussy, at a school dance. I can't play it, right? I'm not playing it. But he's not wrong. I mean, this is exactly what is wrong with music today. It's really trying to make, the sexualization of young women specifically acceptable. And it's wrong. He's labeled as being controversial for calling this stuff out, right? He's the one yelling from the sideline saying, foul, foul on the play. And everybody's looking at him going, shh, shut up. There's nothing to see here. No, we're just hypersexualizing, young girls who are then getting abused by men. And we wonder why we have a single mother epidemic in Western society, and why we're seeing a breakdown, right, of lawlessness or of lawfulness, because you have all these young kids running around with no supervising parents, because mom's got to work 2 or 3 jobs to pay the bills. Dad's nowhere to be found. There's no real role models in media anymore, positive role models, because all the modern rap is about drugs and sex and stuff like that. So there's what do you expect? Garbage in, garbage out.
There's rappers pushing Xanax at the top of the
Right?
billboard, but if I mention race in a song, I'm scared I'll get killed for it. It's backwards, it's getting exponentially dumb. It's more difficult to get a job than purchase a gun.
Again, not wrong. And a point that I've made before. You have rappers out there singing about drugs and alcohol as if they're commercials for the product. Pitbull, Fireball. Well, I mean, you have there's Grey Goose, Hennessy. There's all sorts of different kind of alcohols that are sung about. I think wasn't Cristal or whatever a champagne or something at some point. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But yeah, you have all these songs about drugs and references to drugs and stuff like that, and you have rappers that are dying of this stuff. They're overdosing on the very product that they're selling. It makes it really makes no sense. And yeah, and he gets death threats because he's pointing out these things. He's just pointing it out. He's just lifting the veil.
Eminem used to gay bash and murder his
Yep,
mom.
used
and now
to.
He doesn't want fans if they voted for Trump. We're ashamed to be American. You should probably love it because you have the right to hate it and not get stoned to death in public. As children, we were taught how to
Christian
walk and
reference.
talk, but the system wants adults to sit down and shut up. Cancel culture.
Figure
runs the
that
world
out.
Now.
Okay, so that is all about basically. Let's play it again.
The system wants adults to sit down and shut up.
So what that is basically about, again, it's the lack of critical thinking and common sense, right? If you have critical thinking and common sense, you can't help but stand up and say, yo, wait, chill, step back a minute here. What you said doesn't actually make any sense. Right? What you just said there is whack. I'm trying to use other cultural language. But, like these other guys that I watch reviewing some of his videos would say, that bar is on fire. I'm like, okay, bar and fire. Two references I'm not aware of. But I'm a quick study because I have common sense and critical thinking and comprehension skills. So fire was clearly very good, right? Oh, that's on fire. That's hot, right? That's great. That's awesome. That's good. Bar, I'm looking at it, because rap is often like a rhyme, or it's a form of poetry. It's a form of prose. And so a bar, I'm thinking is you have like your chorus, and your hooks and stuff like that. So a bar is just a portion of a lyrical set, right? So it's, I guess it's that. Think about a haiku, right? A haiku would be all by itself a bar. Is how much so not. I hope you know what a haiku is. What is it? It's 5-7-5, right? So you have to do a 5-syllable, 7-syllable, 5-syllable, right? But it's just, I'm using that as a reference because it's self-contained, right? You can't go beyond 5-7-5. Otherwise, you break it. It's no longer a haiku. So I'm using that in the context of a bar is where you're taking a thought. Think of it as a paragraph, right? A paragraph, if written or constructed properly, would be a bar, right? A paragraph, first sentence should be the synopsis or the prologue of what you're going to talk about for the rest of that 3+ sentences. And then your last sentence is often the summation, right? Or the points that you want to make based on everything else that you've said previously. So that's what basically a bar is. It's commentary, and then there's usually a punchline or something associated with it. And so that's kind of, I don't know. I don't even remember what I was talking about now. It's talking about how we're told to, told to just as kids.
The system wants adults to sit down and shut up. Cancel culture runs the world.
So wants us to, we teach the kids to walk and talk. As adults, we're told to sit down and shut up. Don't use critical thinking. Don't use common sense. Don't use your intelligence. Just do whatever you're told. Basically.
World now, the planet went crazy. Label everything we say as homophobic or racist. If you're white, then you're privileged, guilty by association. All our childhood heroes got me too'd or they're raped. They never freed the slaves. They realized that they don't need the chains. They gave us tiny screens. We think we free because we can't see the cage. They knew that race war would be the game they need to play. For people to big teams, they use the media to feed the flame.
So this is really in line with something that I've been saying for years, is that they never ended slavery. Slavery was never abolished. The system just figured out a way to make the rest of us fall under that guise or umbrella of slavery, but they just called it freedom. So we think we're free, but we are still slaves. We're economic slaves, financial slaves, technological slaves. Slavery never ended. They just changed the rules a little bit so they can put more of us under that form of slavery.
They so fake woke. Facts don't care about
Ben Shapiro quote.
They won't tell me what to believe in. They so fake woke. Same old safe zones. They so fake woke. Facts don't care.
Really catchy.
I think it's crazy how these people screaming facts, but they fake woke. Hate their neighbor because he wears a mask or he stays home. Has a daughter, but his favorite artist said he slays hoes. Picks her up from school, music slaps on the way home. Censorship's an issue because they choose what they erase. There's a difference between hate speech and speech that you hate.
Absolutely, 100%. 100%. There's a difference between hate speech and speech that you hate. That's all hate speech is. Hate speech is just speech somebody else doesn't like. Hate speech doesn't exist under free speech. If you have freedom of speech, all speech is free. All of it. The only thing you can't do is incite. So I can't tell you to go do something illegal, because that's incitement, right? Inciting a mob to go and attack somebody, for example, right? It's incitement. That's not freedom of speech. Now, you can have an opinion. You can say, hey, I really don't think this person should have a platform. Here's my reasons why. That's an opinion. But I can't say this person shouldn't have a platform, and so we should go over there and take that platform. We should go there and hurt that person. We need to shut them up. We need to silence them. Let's grab our pitchforks and torches and let's go for it. That is incitement. That isn't freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is just your ability to say whatever you want as an opinion, right? You can make it a statement of fact in your own mind. That doesn't matter. You have the freedoms. So hate speech doesn't exist under freedom of speech. It's just speech that you hate. It's something that you don't approve of, right? I don't approve of people being racist, right? If somebody's going around hating on another culture, I don't approve of that personally. My opinion is I don't like that. If somebody's talking about natives in a disparaging way, it's like, listen, unless you have facts to back up your statement, you're not helping anything, right? Rather than talking bad about homeless people or drug addicts, let's figure out a solution so that they're not homeless or they're not drug addicts. It's rather, there's a more positive way we can deal with things. But there are people out there who are going to be hateful. I mean, there's bullies, there's trolls, and you know what? These people have a right to be those things. They absolutely have a right. And we have the right to ignore them. We have a right not to go to their platform. We have a right to avoid them. But if we try to cancel these people, if we ban them and remove them from the public square, if we remove both their ability and our ability to have a conversation with each other, then all you do is you force them into other channels. You force them into an echo chamber. You force them into the dark places where their thoughts and ideas can fester and grow. And then their words, their hate speech, as some people would call it, evolves. And it's no longer hate speech. Now it's actionable, right? Look at Timothy McVeigh, right? Oklahoma bomber. Look at what happened with him, how he was radicalized and stuff. He had free speech. He used his free speech. But it got to a point where his echo chamber was really all he had. And look what happened, right? We need people like that to remain in the public square. We need those people to be where we can have a conversation, because it's only through conversation that you change minds. You don't change minds blocking and banning people. You reinforce their own thoughts and opinions. You make them feel like they are right. But that's what this woke stuff does, right? This woke stuff's trying to protect itself by creating its own echo chamber, because they don't want people like us, Tom, myself, and other people who are open-minded, who do understand. They don't want us getting into their chambers and casting doubt, using facts, using actual information, being rational, using critical thinking and common sense as part of our arguments. They don't want that, because then they lose the power of those people that they have contained in their little box. And that's kind of the message I'm kind of getting from Tom in this. And maybe it's reinforcing my own echo chamber. Very possible.
Artist said he slays hoes, picks her up from school, music slaps on the way home. Censorship's an issue because they choose what they erase. There's a difference between hate speech and speech that you hate.
1984.
Matter was the stupidest name. When the system
Thought crime.
Everyone exactly the same. I just want to spend Thanksgiving Day with food in my family without being accused of celebrating native casualties.
Yeah, I mean, again, that kind of comes back to the idea of, my ancestors probably weren't even in North America when all of that was happening. My ancestors were probably still back in Scotland and Italy. They probably came over 100 or 200 years after most of these atrocities had happened. And the atrocities in the sense of a lot of it, I think, was unintentional to begin with, right? Giving blankets to the natives, not knowing what a virus is, not knowing what smallpox was. And of course, the Europeans who came over were immune, right? Had natural immunity to it, or a natural resistance to smallpox. Didn't even know it existed. All of a sudden, now natives start dying. Yes, there were people that used blankets intentionally, but not everybody. It was a minority of people. But we all get painted with the same brush, and he's actually got a great song about that too, called Whiteness. Check it out.
We got so divided, it's black and white and political. Republicans are bigots, libtards if you're liberal. There's riots in our streets and it's just getting worse. Y'all screaming deep on the police, y'all are genius for sure. They're underfunded already, they're way too busy to work.
Yep.
Order food and call the cops, see what reaches you first.
Skip will.
Segregation ended, that's a lie in itself.
Skip driver. I will beat the 5-0.
Racism was hot if they designed it to sell. We buy up every single box and divide us ourselves.
And I like that comment right there. We are dividing ourselves. Basically, we are given the tools by whoever, right? And we're reporting on ourselves. Look about the COVID stuff, right? You have neighbors reporting on each other. Guess what? That happened in like the 1930s too. That's how it started. You start reporting on your neighbors. You create distrust in your community. You break the bonds of community. Right? They've broken the bonds of family. We have a single parent epidemic, right? Single mothers with kids from multiple fathers. Very common thing in modern day and age. The government has basically taken over the role of daddy. Men, we have really no motivation to stick around. Right? There's no tax benefits. There's no social benefits really. And of course the culture is based around, we should just keep hoeing ourselves out, men and women. So there's no benefits. So they've broken the bonds of family. They're breaking the bonds of community. What does that leave us? And we can go back through history, 1930s, not even 100 years ago. We can see what the result will end up being. It may not be against one particular class or ethnicity or religion. I mean, Jews are both a religion and I guess an ethnicity, I guess. Uh, you know, it's not going to be just against one group, right? This is about breaking down society in general so that we can all be put under the boot, not just one, not just a few million people out of a population. And I know these are unpopular opinions to some people. Taking the mask off. I still don't know if that's like a reference to like Antifa, Black Bloc, kind of an ideology where, you know, when you have the Black Bloc on, you all look the same, you all think the same. You know, you're the NPC. I'm not sure if that's the statement he's kind of be making there, or if it's just taking the mask off in general about the whole wokeness situation.
To get peace and wonder why it isn't working. That's like sleeping with a football team to try and be a virgin. Politicians are for sale and someone always makes the purchase.
True.
But you and I cannot afford it. Our democracy is worthless.
True.
If a man has mental illness, call him crazy. Say it silently. When country's going crazy, we accept it as society. Get sick and take a pill. When the side effects get you high, you get addicted like these rappers dying fighting with sobriety.
Exactly.
Censoring the facts turns our children into idiots. They claim it's for our safety. I'll tell you what it really is. Removing information that empowers all the citizens. The truth doesn't damage points of view that are legitimate. They're trying to
yeah, if you can't have a sensible, rational conversation about something, what is that saying about the participants, right? If I come into, and I've had these conversations a lot, you try to have a sensible, reasonable, logical conversation with somebody, and you can't. They explode on you. It's just, they're irrational, and it's again, it's all about their feelings. But the facts don't care about your feelings, as Ben Shapiro said. Tom is so on point with this. Absolutely on point.
Amen and women, how do we let them make praying a microaggression? Instead of asking God for the strength to keep winning, we cheat to get ahead and then we ask him for forgiveness. Feminism.
Well, the problem with Christianity is you're going to get it, right? And same with Catholicism, really. You know, a lot of the Western religions, you can sin. You can sin right up until the minute before you die. And all you have to do in that last minute is ask for absolution, declare your sins if you're a Catholic, you do your Hail Marys or whatever. You know, or if you're just a basic Christian, right? It's just, I accept Jesus. Like, it's so easy. And that's all it takes. Like, that's what they tell us. That's all it takes, you know. And that's why I really question religion, because that really sounds like it's more of a recipe about just bringing you under an umbrella, right? That it's just more about bringing you into the fold. And you know, Jesus was a shepherd, right? So the whole concept is to bring you in for control. You know, government and religion are one and the same. At least historically, they have been. So they're both today vying for control. One for your soul, as they say, and the other one, well, probably for your for power, the tax base and stuff like that. But let's not forget, churches only exist because of tithing, right? So, I mean, there's a greater conversation to be had here.
And then we ask him for forgiveness. Feminism used to be the most righteous of fights, but these days it feels like they secretly hate guys. I don't trust anyone who bleeds for a week and don't die. I'm just kidding, but everything else that I said is right.
So that's pretty much the video. Kind of wraps up with this. I mean, it's still half as long as the previous video, and I didn't even go on off that many tangents. But he is so right. Like, I cannot disagree with him. I cannot find a flaw in the argument that Tom has in this video. So, phenomenal video. Tom MacDonald, Fake Woke, and This is my second go, and it's still half as long as the first go. Because it's just there's so much packed in his 4-minute video that I mean, there's so many conversations, and if there's one thing that really watching Tom's music really it should inspire conversations. Whether you agree with me or not, whether you agree with Tom or not, there's a conversation to be had here, right? We don't all have to go around hating on each other. I mean, it's great. We can disagree. Absolutely, we can disagree. Uh, in my expanded version of this, I go off on a lot of tangents. I'm sure you can find a lot more wrong with my thoughts and opinions on that. But again, at least there's a conversation. And I think that's what a lot of his music is all about, is it's having that conversation. He's pointing out something different. It's a different take. It's the red pill, not the blue pill. And if nothing else, whether you agree or not, have the conversation. Be open-minded enough to try. And watch this guy's videos. I'm going to go watch another one. We'll do another reaction to a different video. And yeah, hopefully you're enjoying these. If you want me to do more, let me know.